Austin, Texas is a booming tech hub. The skyline is expanding, the cost of living is surging, and it's exactly the kind of city where a modern, independent professional can build a highly lucrative freelance business. Enter Rachel. She is a 27-year-old spiritual coach who sells a hybrid of yoga, meditation, and life coaching. Business is actually quite good. On average, she brings in about $6,500 a month, putting her annual income right around $80,000. From the outside, she has all the external markers of a thriving young entrepreneur. She lives entirely alone in a $2,100 a month apartment. She drives a relatively new 2020 Toyota RAV4. She even maintains a portfolio of cryptocurrency and individual stocks. Her $80,000 revenue sits well above the median household income for the city. By any standard economic measure, a single person bringing in that much cash should be building serious wealth and living incredibly comfortably. But she isn't. She is completely broke. She has fully drained her emergency savings accounts. She relies on shuffling balances between promotional credit cards just to survive the normal, predictable slow months in her coaching business. Earning a top-tier income provides exactly zero safety net if you manage your cash flow based on vibes rather than basic math. Rachel is caught in a specific cognitive trap, the abundance mindset. She explicitly equates spending money, like buying expensive takeout or designer clothes, with feeling successful. Because spending feels good in the moment, she completely ignores the objective reality of her bank statements. To figure out exactly where all that money disappears to, we need to perform an objective cash flow autopsy. We are going to start with this solid block, representing her entire $80,000 gross income. A high income cannot outrun a toxic financial mindset. The first major leak in her cash flow comes from how her business is structured. Rachel earns what the IRS calls 1099 income. Unlike a standard employee whose company automatically withholds taxes from every paycheck, independent contractors receive their gross pay up front. It is entirely their responsibility to calculate and set aside the tax they owe. Let's look at our income block. Because Rachel hasn't been setting any money aside for taxes, roughly 25 to 30% of her perceived wealth is an illusion. We have to slice that chunk off and pull it away. That money belongs to the government. She has zero liquid cash saved to pay this liability. Every dollar she brings in is either spent on her lifestyle or sent to her creditors. Ignoring this creates a massive compounding danger. If she is ever audited by the IRS, she will face a bill for back taxes and penalties without any capital to pay it off, leading directly to wage garnishments and legal action. Unsaved taxes act as an invisible anchor on a business. Regardless of how much cash flows into her checking account today, future insolvency is practically guaranteed. Next, we have to look at her daily discretionary spending. Rachel frequently orders organic grocery delivery and expensive premium takeout, justifying the high cost by claiming it saves her valuable time so she can work on her business. The objective reality shatters that excuse completely. She admits that she only works an average of 5 hours a day. She has plenty of time to cook. She simply prefers not to. We can see the damage of those choices on this line chart. Because she refuses to curb her lifestyle, her consumer debt balances rise aggressively month over month, finally hitting a ceiling at $14,457 across multiple maxed-out credit cards. Carrying those balances has a brutal cost. Last year alone, she lost over $1,100 to pure interest on just a single credit card. This is the trap of the credit card float. She is using high-interest debt to fund a daily lifestyle that her actual cash flow cannot mathematically support. Her liabilities extend beyond plastic. She also carries a massive $30,000 auto loan on her RAV4, financed at a painful 7.5% interest rate. To counter these debts, Rachel points to her investments. She holds roughly $2,300 in cryptocurrency and individual stocks, viewing them as a protective safety net. This chart highlights a common psychological trap, the investing mirage. On the left, we have a massive red bar representing the guaranteed 25% negative return she pays in credit card interest. On the right, a small, fluctuating green bar representing the potential return on her crypto holdings. The interest generated by her consumer debt completely consumes any realistic gains she could possibly make from her small portfolio. The math is undeniably net negative. Pretending to be a savvy investor while actively drowning in high-interest consumer debt is simply an ego-driven illusion. In reality, it only accelerates financial ruin. To find a way out, we have to strip away the lifestyle inflation and calculate Rachel's actual, objective survival baseline. This means tallying only the bare essentials required to keep her life functioning: rent, basic utilities, health insurance, a modest gas budget, and the minimum required payments on her existing debt. This waterfall chart shows us exactly where she stands. Starting from her $6,500 average monthly income, we drop down and subtract those bare essential costs, which total $3,551. This leaves us with a distinct bright green block at the end. That green block represents a margin of $2,500. Mathematically, she has a massive amount of capital available to her every single month. Rachel does not have an income problem. She has a behavioral deficit. A wide financial margin is entirely useless if you lack the discipline to direct it where it needs to go. Fixing the math requires immediate, painful sacrifice. She must liquidate her entire crypto and stock portfolio today, using that cash to instantly wipe out her highest interest credit card balance. Next comes the lifestyle shock. 0 restaurant visits, 0 organic takeout deliveries. She must stick to a strict, non-negotiable maximum of $500 a month for bulk groceries. Look at this timeline chart. By applying that freed-up $2,500 margin directly to her remaining credit cards every month, her $14,000 debt balance plummets. It hits absolute zero in exactly 6 months. 6 months of intense, uncompromising sacrifice is the only way she avoids decades of financial stagnation. True financial freedom does not come from a vague abundance mindset. It comes from confronting the hard math, making brutal temporary sacrifices, and taking absolute control of your cash flow.